Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Friday the 13th of July comes to you from London. And the dollar pushing higher, continuing a strong week. We see that candle there for the week, and so pushing higher, starting to nudge the previous highs we saw in June. So again, it's all about dollar strength at the moment. We've got upside targets some 3.5% away, 2%, 1%. So we are seeing short-term upside potential. We do still have long-term targets hanging over us. We have this one here, but we have upside targets as well, so quite a mixed picture. The key is we're starting to hit some cloud resistance on the weekly cloud, having found support on the daily cloud. So dollar strength is dominating. And if we look at the euro, that's heading weaker against the dollar, sitting at 116.17 this morning. And again, downside potential there. All downside targets to sort of 115, 114, 111. Looking at the Japanese yen, we see the dollar really powering here as well, so and pushing into bullish territory on the long term. So the picture for the dollar is one of upside against the yen. And against sterling, we see the sterling is falling quite heavily now against the dollar at 131.18 this morning, nudging the June low. Looking at sterling against the euro, just weakening here a little bit as well, and against the Swiss franc, sterling weakening, and against the Aussie dollar, back below the cloud on the short-term chart at 177. Bitcoin continues to struggle. Was fairly flat yesterday, but we're bearish below the cloud on all three time frames. The US stock markets were actually stronger, so we saw the stock indices up. The S&P 500 was up 0.9%. And pushing to new multi-month highs. The same with the Nasdaq, pushing to new all-time highs yesterday. So the Nasdaq 100, so that's looking bullish, and the Dow Jones also recovering, just under 1% up yesterday. Not yet managed to get above the June high, unlike the S&P 500 index, and the broader-based Russell index, the 2000 UK US top stocks, pushing higher as well, but again not making new highs. Looking at the futures this morning, the S&P futures up 0.14%. The Nasdaq E-mini is actually up 0.25%, does suggest a strong end to the week. FTSE in the UK is higher this morning, having fallen heavily a couple of days ago. So recovering most of the lost ground this week and looking better. And the mid caps for the UK market also recovering some ground as well. So we are seeing some improvement there. The DAX in Germany looking a little bit stronger, and the CAC Quarante also looking a bit stronger, at 0.5%. And so that's looking quite positive. Tokyo was up 1.2% overnight. That weaker yen really having an impact there. Hang Seng was only up 0.1%. The Chinese market really still being affected, and China up only 0.2%. So underperforming as well, and still looking pretty bearish on all three time frames. The Sensex in India was up 0.15%, so looking bullish and pushing to new all-time highs, and the Australian All Ordinaries was also fairly flat. Brent crude sitting at 73.70. So this week we've seen a really big fall for Brent. That fall that we saw at the start of the week, and that's showing up here in the weekly candle. Trend still intact, but we are seeing a lot of short-term pressure for the downside, and WTI also pushing lower as well. US nat gas sitting at $2.80, just really struggling below this $3 mark. And if we look at gold, gold sitting at 12.40, down 0.5% this morning. So gold falling on that stronger dollar, and silver also falling away on that stronger US dollar. US 10-year yield sitting at 2.85%. So just starting to look a little bit more bearish on the short and medium term charts. And if we look at tech stocks, they had big gains in tech yesterday. We saw Apple was up 1.7%, Amazon, which has been an amazing performer, up 2.4% overnight. So really big gains in tech. And if we look at Google, we saw Google up 2.5%, and Facebook also moving. So these stocks all pushing much higher. Facebook now to nearly 207, up another 2%, making new all-time highs. That's it for today. Until Monday, happy charting. Have a great weekend. See you then.